I guess James Gunn is going to have a busy few weeks. So, rumor mill is Superman has made a huge change following test screenings, and James Gunn is clashing with HBO execs. So, I already talked about the course correction, which the video will come out about that eventually sometime later throughout the day. I'm going to try to get this one done first and really talk about this. So bear with me for 1 second. I'll put a link to the description box below where you guys can go check out the article. And this is from comicbookmovienews.com. So they talk about it's easy to forget that the test screenings aren't necessary indication of the movie quality. They frequently feature unfinished efforts. Feedback from test audience is used to improve the upcoming blockbuster. I don't know, I'm trying to glaze this a little bit. Still, a lot can be glimpsed from the test screening. In case of Superman, we've been hearing mixed reactions, not things, reactions for a while. That might be clicks of social interactions, of course, but may explain recent reports about the second composer working on the movie, which I talk about that in another video. There also has been chatter online about big changes being made in the editing room. I talked about that in the other video. Talking on the hot mic, insider Jeff Snyder, remember that name because he has been reporting left to right since December. Said it sounds like DC Studios is playing with that he originally had action planned out a week. Reports what the hell is this? This is no have allude and might be credit for attempting some Kansas. For that erupt programming. Back to our original programming. Still, Gunn deserved credit for attempting something different. And something different. Where I'm at. See, I lost my train of thought. This is what I hate about it. Still, Gunn deserved credit for attempting something different. Then again, when so much hinges on Superman playing it safe, deliver a blockbuster that helps redeem the DC brand, undoubtedly best for business. Other updates were few far between. Snyder co-host John Rosoff did speculate that Batman star Colin Farrell could be a contender for Brainiac after the miss out of Sergeant Rock following its delay. I don't think it's missed. I think it's done. It's canceled because Warner Brothers wants to focus on the core character, which makes sense. Why you focus on these sublist C-listers when you have a Batman, a Superman, a Wonder Woman, Aquaman, which still is mind-blowing to me. Aquaman is $1 billion franchise. Yes, it made $1 billion, and you still haven't tapped into that. It could be a multi-billion-dollar franchise, but they chose not to. That's neither here or there. I don't blame that on nobody else but the old regime. And I blame a little on David Zaslav, too. The most interesting came from Snyder said he has heard that HBO is blocking Gunn's idea for a TV show. The cable network is used to operating with a certain level of response while having a slate of DC projects like Lanterns, Walter, Bruce Gold, Force on it. The possibility goes some way explaining why Peacemaker is set to remain a Max original series headed into season 2. We previously heard that all DC shows were HBO bound. The cable network is typically associated with prestige flair and hands-on with Watchmen, and to a lesser extent The Penguin, which won awards. What does this mean? And this video is not going to be long. So James Gunn is headbutting with HBO. There's a split happening. So clearly what they're doing right now, if you notice, Warner Brothers is going to split from Discovery, and HBO might even split from Warner Brothers to do its own thing, which they could do because HBO to be quite honest with you, being associated with Warner Brothers has hurt them. A lot more has helped them over the years. It actually helped Warner Brothers out because they look at HBO like, oh yeah, that's coming from a Warner Brothers company. Where in reality, if they didn't have HBO right now, Warner Brothers would be in the gutter trash right now, and the other studios too. I do think there's changes happening. Let me say this. So, with that being said, though, I do think, regardless if this movie does well financially, and I mean, well for people is 700. I mean, and well is 800 to 900. Regardless if this movie does that number, I do believe James Gunn DC Universe will not come to fruition the way he thought it was going to come to fruition. I do not think that we're not going to get a lot of shows from James Gunn per se for DC. That Booster Gold show, unless it's not a quality level Penguin, we're not going to see it. I do think we'll start seeing shows that James Gunn may want to do ship to other properties, other companies, other studios, other streaming service, and I do think that's going to happen if Superman well. If Superman's not well and doesn't do well critically or financially, I say more financially, then you're just not going to see nothing from this universe no more. You're butting heads with HBO execs. That's not good. They're blocking you from doing shows. That's not good. And again, I don't know if HBO is on the side of Matt Reeves, and they're probably upset at the fact that you're not letting Matt Reeves do to the Batman. We don't know. We don't know what's going on with that. All I can tell you, this is not looking good. This is not looking good. With that report earlier, with the test screenings supposed to happen, reshoots, restructure, course correction, scrutiny on every frame. All of that is not good and does not look good for James Gunn. It's all I can tell you right now from me listening and me reading these articles and listening what other people are saying. Win, lose, or draw, DC Universe, what James Gunn has envisioned, will not happen. Now, what's going to happen, things will be changing. I bet you money, when James Gunn's contract is up, he's not going to renew it. Even if Superman and Batman does well. They have to pay him XYZ more money, and they said no, he's going to leave. I don't blame him. You coming in, taking my film, and Warner Bros. Has done this multiple times. But again, I blame this on David Zaslav and Warner Bros. If you did not want him to do his style of filming, why give him Superman? If you did not want him to make those type of jokes, why give him Superman? I know James Gunn was going to do it. Stevie Wonder Blind ass know James Gunn was going to do it, and he's never seen his films. You know how James Gunn is as a person, and his style of filmmaking is going to. That's it. This is what you wanted. This is what you're going to get. Now you don't want him to do X, Y, Z. We don't want the comedy in there. We don't want this. We don't. So you pretty much told him not to be him. If that was the case, don't hire him. But again, they don't know what they're doing. If you wanted a Superman to go back to the beats of Richard Donner, which that's going to not kill him, but hurt him more to help him, because every time they go back to that, there's no other film that can. People say, "Oh, that's the pinnacle." It's like, cool, that was back in the motherfucking 70s and the 80s almost. We need to move forward from that. We need to go forward. There's certain comic books out there. There's certain adaptations you could take. Source material you could do with Superman and adapt them better. There's 90s version, the mid 2000s version. You can do different things with him, but Superman has to evolve. You keep going back to that well, you're not going to win him over. Why do you think Captain America became the new Superman? Because he wasn't following what was going on in the 60s and 50s. They reinvented him, and he became the Superman. He became pop culture. Superman is not part of pop culture no more, because you got people trying to not reinvent the wheel, but they're trying to bring it back to what it was back in the 78. That's cool and dandy, but that's not going to win everybody over. These young kids today, they're not into the movies and the comic books and all that like the late millennials and the early millennials are. This new gen ain't. The reason that Deadpool Wolverine was good is because the millennials and older guard are the ones we said it was good. We went back and seen it. Then those new generations came behind it. And also, too, it's just cool. You know, Deadpool Wolverine became pop culture. I mean, look at the Gambit thing. Oh, I've been waiting for this. I got to make a name for myself here. That's what I'm talking about. But James Gunn, and it's a whole mess of things. The best thing I can say is God bless. I feel for James Gunn. I would not want to be in his shoes. This sounds like a headache. This sounds like a nightmare. And if I was James Gunn, I'd get out of there, because you don't know if Warner Brothers are going to be the same Warner Brothers. You really don't know. So, as always, like, subscribe. Peace. Have a Johnson day. Whew. Whew. He ain't going to make a name for himself there. I'll tell you that. I'm out.